Hey guys, this is Sergeant Phoenix back in the action, and today we're finally up to one of my favourite card types, pendulum summoning. And pendulums are the most unique, in my opinion, of cards like links. Like links, it took me a while, but I managed to master it. Now, I'm going to find you a link pendulum. I forgot I actually drew 5 here, just for demonstrational uses. Yeah. And this is what makes them so unique, because you'll notice they have a monster and a spell cards up frame. But the difference is they have scales, red and blue crystals with levels. What those mean are specific rules for summoning other monsters. So if I had another one in my hand that I had a level 5. What this means is, though, it lets you summon certain monsters from between the numbers. So, if I have 2 pendulums, I'm trying to find another one just to make, like this one. These 2 are Dice Dragons. I'm just trying to make it easier just so you get it. This side, you put the lowest scale on your first pendulum zone, and your highest on the other. So, this lets you summon monsters between those numbers. Since that's a scale 4 and that's a scale 8, I can summon 5, 6, and 7 leveled monsters. So I could summon any, let's say all 5 of these cards are monsters. I can instantly special summon all of them, unless they have, certain rules and conditions. And you'll notice between the scales of the pendulums, they have effects. And those effects determine certain things. Most of your pendulums that you do see, you'll notice that they have specific rules of what they can only pendulum summon. Others, it means that some mean you can add, some means you can tribute, take away, to do whatever. It's just the way it works. But I've been wanting to actually modify my own deck with pendulums. I haven't found any good enough pendulums yet. So I'm going to actually ask all of you if you can comment down below and think of some dark attribute pendulums which should be good between the levels 3 to 4, really. 3 to 6, if you can. Because I am trying to find some really good pendulums to try and modify my deck. Because that's the main purpose for my personal dark attribute deck. To modify it, to make it stronger, to survive even greater challenges. And pendulums, a lot of people argue with. Because when they've invented the link format for dueling, you can't really use pendulums anymore, and people really don't like it. Because they got used to pendulums, they liked pendulums, it was a thing. And pendulums can be easier to use than links, in my opinion, because I'm starting to get the hangs of links, but they're pretty much easier. Because they can let you actually summon Fusion Synchronic Z's monsters easy. Probably all 3 in one turn, depending on what you've got. So let's say I had pendulum monsters, I had this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Because the pendulums do have other effects. So this one would actually let me use it to fusion summon. So once per turn I can, if this card will just pendulum summon, it means summoned by a pendulum effect. This turn, I can fusion summon 1 fusion monster from the extra using this card, and you control this card I control and a dragon as a fusion material. But I'd only have 1, so that wouldn't help. But because I mostly work on synchros, because I like synchro summoning, it's my favourite one. So I could use these 2 since that's a tuner, and this is a level 4. This makes 7. But you won't see me put them in the graveyard in case you were thinking. because when these leave the field, they actually, depending on the reason, they actually go face up in your pendulum. So all your Xyz synchros would be face down, but these actually go face up in your extra deck. And there are some effects like Pendulum Reborn that can actually bring them back, or if you actually have monsters in the extra. Actually, if you have monsters in your Pendulum Zone, you can special summon them from their as well. So let's say I had, just to scour the deck, just to give you some good examples, I have a level 8 scale here and a level 1 here. I can say I then Pendulum Summon these two back from my extra deck. Make it easier. I could say I could normal, or you can just normal summon, because some say you can normal summon them to do certain effects. For this one, if I normal summoned it, I can add a pendulum from my deck to my hand, which could give me more support. So you can see why I'd prefer this. But again, if you can comment down below and think of some pendulum monsters I could use for me, because all my cards are dark attribute based, all the monsters, except the ones from the extra deck, because nearly all the ones from the extra deck are dragons for summoning 5-headed dragon. Really, it's an old-timey card, but it's pretty handy if you're going against certain duelists. Because it's, like I've said, it's immune. If I've mentioned it before in the other video, you know what I mean. It's almost immune to nearly attacks in battle. Even if my opponent has a monster powerful enough, it can only be destroyed by a monster whose attributes are light attributes. So other than fire, water, wind, earth and darkness, they won't destroy it, but they could still damage me. So everyone will tell you this, as powerful as any monster is, even the Egyptian god cards, every card has a weakness. Nothing's indestructible. Except Supreme Dragon's Arc. Which deck I managed to get. Zark is literally one of the reason cards can get overpowered. Because it's almost invincible and it can destroy everything in its path. The reason being, because of its effects, but it's difficult to summon. But they have got cards out there that can make it easier to summon. So, but this one needs a Synchro, Fusion, Xyz and a Pendulum Dragon each to summon them all. But there is a card they create called Time Gazer Magician. When cards are destroyed, I can special summon that, bring them back, then use them from my extra deck, along with a pendulum from my deck, remove them, get rid of them, summon Zark easily. And this series from the Arc 5 series. I call it Arc V, but that's how people say it, Arc 5. It's an alright series. I do prefer the sub better than the dub. When, the Japanese, I think it's Japan, who were doing it. I can't remember at the time which is which. I can't remember which plays the anime. So I think it's... No, it's anime. I know it's anime, so it's mostly Japan, I think. I think it is Japan, I don't know. But I prefer the voices better than dubs, because dubs, they make them sound all echoey and adult-like. But I can honestly say, because I gotta get positives, Arc Vibe was really for kids, in my opinion, for young duelists that was just learning to play a deck. But for us teens and young adults out there, it wasn't good. Nearly all of us hate it. I haven't heard of all my friends say. I've never heard one of my friends say a good thing. I even do that for a joke. Like, I've got your favourite dub series on Art Vibe, and some of them look at me like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm only messing with you." Right. But it is an alright series, because you do get some of your old actors back. You actually get the old characters, not the original, not the protagonist, as in Yugi, Jade, and Yusei and everyone. You actually get Jack Atlas, Alexis from GX and Jack Alexis and 5Ds. Kite from, what was it again? Zexel, sorry. And he's one of my favourites because I like Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. I'm trying to actually build a deck on Galaxy Eyes Photons and Ciphers. Because Ciphers are actually, if you notice, he has a new deck, Ciphers, and they are, I can't beat them. I managed to beat them a few times with my Dark Attribute deck, but most of the time, because my friend powered up its life points and I just play a Magic Cylinder a lot of the time. It's one of the most oldest cards, but it's one of those everyone uses. I have it in nearly every deck I use per sector. But I do like, but I'm glad though they brought some of the characters back. They did give them new decks though. Jack Atlas from 5Ds, he managed to get a, what was it? Red, he got on red one, a red deck, which, you have Resignators in it. And it had a new Red Dragon Archfiend called Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. So they have changed it. But it's still a good... So I'm just cleaning a bit of dust on it for some reason. So they did do a good job because I compared the two and Alexis used... What did Alexis use again? Alexis used ritual cards instead of fusions. If you want to know what happened, you'd have to watch the series to see what happens. But honestly, I was alright with that vibe because I have to see it in a point of view. I balance everything out, but the kids sound like adults. But I can say it's mostly for kids. So it's my honest opinion. So please like, subscribe, and please tell me some really good Dark Attribute pendulums for my deck. So this is Sergeant Phoenix, over and out.